We are Rogue Media Sports.
Yo, welcome to Keep Stacking with Riley. Thank y'all for joining me today. Let's get into the episode. All right, welcome back, guys. Thank you for joining the pod again. I have a very highly anticipated guest today, Travis Gilmore. Thank you for joining, buddy.
I appreciate you for having me.
Of course, man. Yeah, so we were just talking about how me and Travis even came to know each other. It was just through social media, of course. And then we're also talking before this episode, we met at Pinewoods Coffee House, and I was telling him I have had discussions with my guests before the pod and we'd kind of like just used that discussion time, and like I wish I would have been able to use that discussion time in the pod, but we're just gonna maybe talk about some same topics we've already talked about. But I want to begin so that y'all can get to know Travis a little bit. Like, we're obviously both in chairs. How'd you get hurt, bro? What was your injury story?
Well, once again, thanks for having me.
Of course.
It's awesome to be here. So my story started out in March 11th, 2020. I was a senior in high school. And so I was in baseball practice in the locker room, just messing around with the guys, doing the goofy stuff that you do in the locker room. And I picked up one of my buddies, and we were wrestling, and we hit the ground. And when I hit the ground, fell on the side of my head, and it broke my neck. And it was just from there, you kind of get that instant shock of like, oh, it's something set in. I think I know something's wrong. So as soon as that happened, I was like, I told everybody, they're like, oh, get up.
You were speaking to them at the time?
Yeah. They're like, get up. And I was like, no. I was like,
you could totally feel like the paralysis immediately.
Yeah. Because I tried to, like, as soon as I hit the ground, I tried to move my arms and like, obviously, try to get up. But when I moved my arms, like my arms just moved on the ground like windshield wipers. And it was like
they do now, kind of like the same kind of level of function.
Yeah. Well, like I can even, like, I mean, now I can move them like more, but like at the time, like I couldn't even lift it off the ground. It was just like back and forth. And I was like, oh, this isn't supposed to be like this. So at that instant, I was like, hey, like I'm paralyzed. And then I even have a video of like someone was like recording, like didn't know what was happening. But like as soon as you hear me say I'm paralyzed, it goes silent. Everybody's like, you kind of like, it sets in.
You're young at that time too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was 8. I just turned 18. So that's kind of like, how it happened. But then after that, I go to the ICU for 2.5 weeks, kind of just obviously went through an 8-hour surgery. And then, so I had the 8-hour surgery that night. And then 2 days later, on my mom's birthday, the luck of the draw, my lungs collapsed. And so then I had to get
a bronchoscopy.
Yeah.
I've had 12 of those.
Oh,
bro.
So that's
crazy.
I had to get
those
a
are
trach
like
tube.
Very like invasive procedures, bro.
I had to get the trach tube in my throat, and you can't eat, you can't breathe, you can't even talk. And it's just like, it's one of those where it's like, that's really when like life hits you in the face and you kind of realize it all. I mean, I'm not all there in the moment, but thinking back on it now, it's like, that's super tough time. But after that, then I went to Tier for about a month and did therapy there, and then did outpatient therapy for about 2 years after that. So
damn. Dude, well, I was thinking, I just mentioned like you got hurt at a young age. You were 18 at the time. I got injured about 24. What do you, I've always like thought about you and Michaela specifically getting hurt kind of younger, but what do you, getting hurt that young? Like, what were you planning on doing? Were you already had college situated? Like, were you going to school?
So
somewhere?
I had applied I only applied to A&M. Yeah. That was the only college I applied to. It's kind of either get in there or like have to go to like the blend route and then just get in that way. But I was like, I'll get into A&M and do that. So, I mean, it was the end of the senior year, classes, you're not really doing anything. I'm like, oh, spring break's coming up, everything. So I was like, this is when I feel like, I don't want to say the peak, but like, it's like, this is about to be the peak. Peak fun. I'm about to go to college, get away from
school's not hard. You're just hanging out with your friends.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Everything's easy.
It's super fun time. Yeah. So I think that was kind of like one of the hardest things was being that young, or like not that young, but like that age,
feeling like you're missing out on stuff.
That's when it like because especially that next year, I mean, it was during COVID time, so not really nobody was doing anything,
Yeah.
but all my friends went off to college, and I'm like, I'm stuck in
Dog.
an apartment in Houston,
Yeah.
doing therapy, trying to learn how to feed myself, trying to learn
Oh.
how to like live, like just even be able to live.
Stuff
you know?
that should be easy, like feeding yourself.
The
That's what you're
easiest
practicing.
stuff, yeah. And while my friends, are drinking beers,
Yeah.
going out to parties and doing all this. So that was kind of like that one I feel like kind of got me down. Just
Bro,
like,
for sure.
and I mean, it's like,
It still does for me today most of the time.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, but I mean, you can't blame friends.
Definitely not.
Get out there and do that. But I would say that was being at a young age. And then also too, just being able to like get out and do things. Like, I was very active. I would say active, like to be outdoors,
For sure.
do those things. So kind of got stripped from me when I like got injured.
Damn.
So that kind of hurt. But I would say that was definitely the toughest part of just being young.
I had a question about that, bro. Okay, yeah, like so like I struggle with that so much too. Like feel like I'm missing out on stuff, and like this past year, like I spent a lot of time in the hospital as well. And I was like and like recovering and doing stuff like practicing eating, like that's just a skill that I shouldn't have to practice. And then I like look on social media and see my friends traveling, hanging out with each other, drinking, all this stuff that I would be doing had I not been such an idiot in that moment. But do you ever like, how do you handle social media now? Like, do you like struggle with that same thing? Like seeing other people do fun stuff and like comparing your life to theirs? Dude, I've like considered getting off social media.
So I would say like, I think like a lot of people say is like comparing is like a thief,
thief of joy.
The thief of joy. Yeah. And I completely agree with that. Cause I mean, I say I won't compare myself to anybody or like do that, but I'm still going to do it every day. But I mean, social media, it's been hard, but I think just like you're
pretty
going.
active on it still.
Yeah. So like the more and more years that I think I get into my injury, like after post injury, is that like I kind of just like block it out, or I kind of like motivate. I like to see it as like motivation, like, hey, like, they're doing that, but like, there's no reason I can't get to the point where I'm able to do that. So, I mean, that would be like my biggest thing, like telling you is be like, hey, like, I mean, it's like right now, you're early in your injury. So it's like, it really is, but like use it as motivation to be able to like want to get back to the point where like, hey, you may not be able to like get out there and run with them, but like, hey, like you can still be out there doing everything. Yeah, for sure.
Well, we also touched on like your injury is March 11th, 2020. Well, ours are pretty close. Mine's March 20. But you just hit your 5-year anniversary. I just hit my 1 year. What is it like? What do you think it was like for you, your 1 year? Like, where were you at physically, mentally at your 1 year?
So, I mean, looking at you now, I mean, like, you're doing, I feel like you're doing better than I was at year one. So, I mean,
I think that's the age thing too. Like you were a kid, bro, when you got hurt.
Yeah, it was mentally, like, I mean, mentally and obviously physically super hard, but like the mental aspect of it
always a harsh
was just super hard. Just, I think one of like we talked about is like being stuck inside, not being able to like get out and like do things, especially with COVID being at its peak. Yeah. You're like, I'm stuck there, not moving, watching.
The not moving and being stuck in a like one room or one house is like, wow, that's so tough.
It is an awful, if any of you are wondering, it's an awful feeling. It's not fun, especially for people that like to be out, like moving
like you and I
doing things. But yeah, the mental was super hard just because like trying not to get down on myself. I mean, I had countless days where I'm like, I'll just break down and I'd be like, hey, like, why did this happen to me? Like, why are all my friends getting to go out and do all these things and I'm stuck here learning how to try to move my wrist again or move my fingers
sometimes
again.
That's so defeating.
And so like it was just super hard mentally. I mean, even nowadays, like a lot of people are like, hey, like, how are you so positive? Like all this. I mean, I would say like 99% of the time I'm positive, but like there's definitely that 0.1% where there's like days where it's like we talk about, it seems like nothing can go right. Yeah. And it's super frustrating. And I think that's one of the biggest things with living with a spinal cord injury and being in a chair is like, there's days where it seems like you could just nothing can
nothing
go right
happens,
for you.
nothing goes
And
your
it's
way.
super hard on you, you know?
What do you, so like now that was you at 1 year, now you've lived 5 years. We touched on at the coffee shop, like one of the things what we learned, but like, what do you think this injury how has it added value to you? Like, what have you learned from it?
Oh,
That's a big question, but
that's
like,
a big question.
yeah.
But that's also like
Yeah.
I feel like that answer, there's endless answers
Right.
on that one for me, just because, you know, obviously faith wise,
Yeah.
but then also like learning how to, I guess you could say, being able to like not cope with things, but like I guess you could say learning how to set my, I guess,
adjusting to certain situations.
yeah, adjusting to certain, like I guess not letting something get me down and then making me not want to do it, I guess.
Pretty much choosing patience and like choosing how you're going to react to certain things.
Oh yeah, because
you can't react, you can't control anything. Well, obviously you can't control your body, and then like you can't control other people's emotions towards you. And like something that I really have a tough time with a lot of the time is like just asking people for things.
Oh yeah. Oh no, I'm right there with you.
And especially like as a man, like I would like to provide something or like be a value. Mostly like my value before was like physically. I mean, obviously college sports and like just helping other people. Like I would just help them like service wise, like performing acts or doing something for them around the house, whatever it was. But like now that the only value that I can provide to others is like with my words and attitude, that's just a big shift.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And like that's something that you and I have had to learn and do now. But bro, yeah, like losing that part of being able to help people physically is so challenging.
Oh yeah. Well, like even like earlier how you talked about like that, like you go from living like depending, like you're living on yourself, like,
yeah.
And then going straight from that in like a matter of like a snap to like depending on everyone else
for everything. Yeah.
And you know, I think that that was one of the biggest mentally challenging things for me, is because like I'm like, I'm a guy. I don't want anybody helping me with anything. I don't want your help. I don't need anything. And that was one of the things I needed to get over with, is like asking for help. Because like asking for help in this situation is going to help you not only make your daily life better, but like make things easier for you when, you know. But then there's times where, you know, I don't need to ask for help. I need to figure out how to do that.
Because you need to push yourself.
Yeah. So there's a balance. There's a good balance between
for sure.
It.
Good balance.
For sure. But like, it's just like, even when I go out, like I want to go eat, like I'd go eat by myself, but I'm like, that front door at
is it worth
Chipotle?
it? Yeah.
Am I going to be able to get that open?
Dude, the fact we would think about stuff like that now.
Or is there going to be someone that sees me struggling and it's like,
and gets it for me?
Do you want me to help that? Which the thing is, like, everyone's super nice. I mean,
of course,
you have your couple people, but
we do get a lot of sympathy, which is nice.
Everyone's like, honestly, like sometimes it's like overboard, but I'm like, hey, I appreciate it. I'll take all your help. But like, it's like, I hate asking people for help, but like I'll be like, if you ever see me ask for help, I'm like, could you help me out real quick? And everyone, but the thing is, everyone's like, oh yeah, sure. Yeah. Like they're almost like kind of like scared. They're like, hey.
Dude, that's so funny. We started talking about this, but just before the episode, I was talking with Matthew. He's one of the co-owners of this network, the Rogue Media Network, and he was talking about how Edwin Munoz, one of my other guests and the guy had asked him to like help him over the ledge into the bathroom. And super simple, easy task that I don't need help with. But like what Matthew was sharing with me that he learned in that situation was like just how we have to ask people so much for stuff, but also just like the humility that it took for Edwin to be able, just as a man, ask another man to perform such a simple task can seem demeaning and like pretty tough at times. But like Edwin showed a lot of humility in that moment. Like, by like not letting his own pride get to him and letting Matthew help him with a simple task and that's like something all three of us gotten used to, is like asking for stuff like that. But Matthew like literally saw the humility. He's like, I saw what that took from Edwin to ask that, and like how he was so comfortable asking that and like allowing Matthew to help Edwin with that task. It meant a lot to Matthew. So like just even something like that seems annoying for us at times, or like for me, like it's always like I just feel so demeaned, like worthless. But like in that instance, it helps show Matthew just like how humble Edwin was, and I think I'm glad he shared that with me, just because like now I can not in every instance not feel as bad, but
Yeah.
I can feel like maybe letting people in and letting them helps them too.
Yeah.
Makes them feel good about helping us, and we get to get our things done, and it's not as bad as it always is shaking out to be.
It's just getting over that like manly
Yeah.
thing of like, oh, I don't need help,
And sometimes, dude, it's even more manly to ask and like be that vulnerable with them in the situation.
No, yeah.
I think as men, sometimes we skip out on that, like and just like hide our emotions and like don't tell each other how we're feeling. But in reality, something I've kind of learned recently is could be potentially more manly to share your emotions.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe you don't have to like cry about it all the time, but like let guys know how you're feeling, bro, and like
yeah, for sure.
let people in. That's where you get real human connection. And like even like, dude, we've met a few hours ago. I'm like, I just feel like we're friends because we're both quads, but also like just because we've been able to talk real with each other and like we can relate. But that's just, I think that's the key to like really connect with people, is letting people in to your emotions, bro.
I mean, especially with guys, I think there's a lot of guys that are, scared to like open up or like even just like tell like their other guy friends, like how they're really truly feeling, which I don't think should be a thing. I mean, a lot of my friends, I mean, like I'm going like, even though I'm like 5 years post injury, it's still like, there's still a lot going on. So it's like, I think it's super important to be able to let them know, and also have friends that I can let know, like, how I'm truly feeling. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still hide some of the stuff, but, but, it's super important to be able to do that, to, even like with you sharing, like, sharing everything. It's super, it's like,
freeing.
It's like a weight off your shoulders. Yeah. It's like, like, this guy gets me.
I used to not do that before the injury. Like I didn't keep everything in, but like I just didn't have that kind of relationship with my guy friends. Now I do with some of them, and it feels good.
Oh yeah. No,
so I'm encouraging it.
Oh, 100%. It's super cool. I mean, that's like, speaking of you with your guy friends, like, it's really cool to see the relationship I have with my friends now compared to like how I had it before. Before, obviously really great friendships, but like now it's like you really see, after an injury like this, like you really see who truly is like,
who's your
friend
boy,
and like who truly wants to be there for you.
Absolutely.
And it's super cool to see, and like the connection wise, just being able
it gets
to
even
like,
deeper.
I think it's a really cool experience to be able to do that one.
Well, bro, that's I want to get into some stuff you're doing now too, because we've talked about the injury, and now you're 5 years out. I know you're going to A&M. What are you studying there? And like, I know you're living by yourself too, so touch on both of those.
So I went to Texas A&M.
When did you start going there? I
started going there three years ago.
Okay,
I think it's 3 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, like 3.5.
Nice.
Depends how we want to look at it. But yeah, I started studying construction science. That was kind of like always I've always been interested in the architecture, didn't want to go the architecture route. That was a little bit too hard for me. So I was like, I'll take a little bit easier route. So I picked that. I've always had the liking for, architecture, looking at houses, custom homes, stuff like that. So that's how I kind of got into it. But I've been there for 3 years now. I've lived in a different place
every year,
Bro. 3 different times. And I'm finally at the spot that I like. So,
nice.
But like the first year was like super eye-opening, just because, like you're like,
being on your own for real.
I'm not in like a completely accessible. Like I was living with 3 of my roommates, 3 of my friends. And it's like, this is the first house that's not like, or the hospital that's not completely accessible. Had to like build a ramp through the back of the garage to get in the house. So like those are the things that I think are like great, because it's like, it teaches you how to do things and all that. But then I moved to another house that was easier. And then this year I live in an apartment, which is
like a totally accessible apartment.
Mostly. It's ADA accessible.
ADA. Okay, what does that mean?
It's ADA accessible, but the shower has like
oh yeah,
a
I've seen
lip
that.
on it, like
Yeah.
this big. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Already get a chair in there.
how's it supposed to be accessible?
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess there's probably like certain things on that. But
Yeah.
I just built a ramp. I have a ramp into it.
Nice.
And then there's a platform in it. So I can
Nice.
just like sit on top of the ramp. So, you know, that's the thing. That's another big thing with like being in our situations is like you have to like create, you have to be
Totally.
like creative and
Yeah.
like be able to find new ways to like overcome small or big challenges
Yeah.
like that.
And get
Which-
ahead of so much stuff. Like you're probably looking at apartments that were ADA
Mhm.
accessible.
Yeah.
Like with the Chipotle, you're like thinking about opening the door when you go there.
Mhm.
Like so many things you gotta start preparing for. But I mean, it kind of comes naturally, bro. Like I've been now, especially now that I have no control of anything, like as far as like what I'm gonna eat that day or where I'm gonna go. I do have control where I'm gonna go, but like just my mind's always thinking ahead. Like, all right, who's gonna take me there? How am I gonna get in the car? What's it gonna look like when I get there? What chair am I going in? So many different questions that are being asked in my head to just prepare me. But okay, so you have an ADA accessible apartment now. You're studying at A&M.
Yeah.
When do you graduate?
So I graduate next May.
Yeah.
So what is that? May, what are we in, 2025?
Yeah.
May 2026. So that, but like I was telling you earlier, I have to do my internship
Oh yeah,
with a construction company next
it's
fall.
gonna be in Dallas.
So it's either, I think it's gonna be either between Dallas or Austin. So
Right.
that's kind of like one of those things where like with the whole like social media aspect, I'm kind of like excited about it because
Yeah.
like I feel like I'll get to show that side of like being like
Yeah.
in a wheelchair in that industry. Like
Yeah,
I don't know about you, but
It's gonna
I
be
can tell
unique.
you one person in a wheelchair
Yeah.
that's in the construction industry. So
trendsetter.
I feel like that
To
would
say
be
the
pretty
least.
cool to like,
Hell yeah.
even for me, like see like how like, hey, like how am I going to be able to do this?
Yeah.
Which my thing is like, hey, like we had like a career fair and I'm like, you know, obviously like people are going to judge you. Like,
Yeah.
But the thing is with me is like, I don't take it to heart. Like,
Yeah.
it's in construction, you know, you're mean in business. You want your business to do good. If I
Yeah.
see a dude in a wheelchair, if I'm post injury, I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, like I'm having my doubts
Yeah,
and it's okay. But like my thing is like, hey, I'm going to show them, you know,
yeah.
just because I'm in a wheelchair doesn't mean
Pretty cool how motivated
can't
like it
do-
can be
Oh yeah.
to be in a
for
chair at times. Yeah.
Oh no, for sure. It's like, hey, like, but when I see y'all in like 3 years or
Yeah.
4 years, don't be like, hey, we
Yeah.
should hire you.
And like know how much harder it is for me too. But I'm still doing as good as y'all.
Yeah, like when my houses that I'm building look
Yeah.
better than yours, don't come
That's
talk
what-
to me.
Dude, what's it like taking classes at A&M? Like I would be I constantly think about what other people are thinking of me. What's the student to student relationship like?
So that's a great topic
Yeah.
you brought up because the biggest thing I was ever worried about after my injury, people would be like, oh, walking and all
Yeah.
this. Me, I cared so much about at that time. I cared so much about what people thought about me.
Mhm.
Still do too
Yeah,
much.
for sure.
But
It's really hard not to.
like I remember I'm going off topic, but we went to Target my first time after my injury, and I'm like getting out of the van in the
You're in
big
the
power chair.
Yeah, dude, the power chair kills
I
me.
got like the big neck rest on the back,
Mhm.
and I'm like, oh gosh,
Yeah.
everyone's looking at me. And then to make it even worse, I'm inside Target
Yeah.
and a little girl walks by me and she goes, "Mom, what's wrong with his legs?" And I was like,
verbally said that out
the
loud. I mean, she's a
first
kid, but
time
yeah.
I set foot out of my apartment or like really anything. Like
Yeah.
the first time I had ever went out, I have someone do that and I was like,
Bro.
oh gosh, this is
always
awful.
the kids, yeah.
But anyways, back to the A&M and
Yeah,
like that
students.
thing. So like, I mean, in the first year, I was kind of like, you know, I'm like, it feels like everyone's looking at you, which sometimes they
Yeah.
are, but it
Most of
feels
the time
like
they're not, but yeah.
it feels like everyone's looking at you.
yeah.
But
Were you, like,
everyone
always
on the
traveling?
campus, what's up?
Were you like always traveling with a friend most of the time? Were you
Not
by
really.
yourself? Okay.
I was kind of
That would be tough,
just
bro. That's very brave.
solo riding that one.
Yeah.
Which that brings me to another. I can
Yeah.
tell stories, guys.
Yeah. Give us at least more too. Yeah.
I can tell you some stories. So the first day of class that I had my freshman year, I had my backpack sitting on my lap.
Okay.
And I'm going to class, and so I get dropped off by this. At the time, I didn't have a car, so
Yeah.
it was like paratransit. They dropped me off kind of
Okay.
close to the building, and I'm rolling, and I go to the ramp. There's stairs to get, so they have a ramp on the side, and the ramp has like a ledge, like about like this bit, like a little lip on it, and I'm like, whatever. And I like turn my chair and like push, and my front caster wheel, like the front wheel, hits it and then stop and pushes me back.
Yeah.
And my backpack with my phone on it just slides off
your legs. Yeah.
straight onto the concrete. And I'm just like,
not getting that.
Back to the thing, like, nothing can ever go right. It seems like, but like that brings me to like everyone on A&M's campus is like super, super nice.
Yeah.
And it's like everyone's like, hey, like, can I help you? Can I help you? And I'm like, yeah, please.
They just pick it up for you?
Yeah, they just picked it up for me. It helps me get it right back. But I mean, everyone, like, I've never ran into a problem on I think I had one time where like I looked across the street and there's like 3 frat dudes like laughing or whatever. But I was just like, yeah,
they don't know anything. I
was like, that doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
I was like, you're goofy.
In that moment, yeah.
But I think someone told me that A&M's accessibility is like #1 in the colleges in Texas.
Okay.
I could be wrong on that, but they said it was supposed to be one of the most accessible colleges in Texas. Cause like people would be like, you want to go like Texas State? And I was like, no.
Yeah.
Those hills are awful.
Yeah, bro.
But
where is San Marcos? Yeah.
Everything has like a wheelchair door. I guess you could call it the automatic opening door. And then like even like A&M's like accessibility resources, they have like their own testing center with like raising tables.
Oh,
and
really?
Like everything. Like
That's
they
lit.
even have like a test, like people, they have note takers that you can have come with you. Don't ever use that.
Why not? They're not good?
I was too embarrassed to have someone with me.
Oh,
So I
okay,
just never
fair,
got one.
I wouldn't do that either.
But like, yeah, they do that. You get like a whole nother, you basically get half of your test time added on. So like if I have a hour-long test, I have like an hour and a half to complete it. And then it's like they have all that. And I mean, everything's been super, super good, minus like a couple times when like the button doesn't work. But that brings me back to like everyone being so nice and be like, hey, like, let me get the door for you. And I'm like, I appreciate it very much.
Everybody's of age too at that time. Like you don't have to deal with like the Target kid anymore at that time. So like everybody's.
But that's like the thing too, is like I can imagine, I think it would have been way worse for me if I had this injury like
later in life, like
earlier.
30? Oh, earlier.
Earlier. I mean, later in life, yes.
Probably, yeah.
But earlier in life, and then having to go to like high school, I feel like kids are just so much
more judgmental,
so much more judgmental and so much more immature that it's like. But then, like I know, then like I got my people there, so it's
true.
like I wouldn't really care. But like that'd have been hard too,
bro. Definitely. There's no good time to have a spinal cord injury, obviously.
Yeah.
But I've thought about your situation being tougher. I think my timing wasn't the worst because I got to go to high school and college normal. But like I know a guy who got injured at 40. Yeah, that's got to be tough, bro. With kids,
that's rough. Yeah,
I think that might be the worst.
That's
because like you're kind of lived a really good chunk of your life, maybe half. The kids thing, like what I was talking about, the service and like providing for your family and like especially like being there for your wife and helping out with the kids, like to not be there for her in that fast, it would be so tough.
Yeah, especially if you have young kids.
Yeah,
I don't think that doesn't go through my mind. Like one day having kids is like when you have the young ones and where it's like you want to be there, like obviously the most you possibly can for like your wife at the time.
Yeah.
Not at the time, but like wife.
Your wife. Your full-time wife.
Your full-time wife. But obviously you want to be there for them as much as possible. So that's like always like a thought of my I don't know why, but that's always like I'm thinking I'm like, hey, like,
dude,
you want to be able to provide, which one of my friends has a similar spinal cord injury. His name's Mason. And he just had a kid and like seeing him kind of like navigate through that whole thing and like seeing how he can be there for his kid and his wife is like super, super cool. Not only just because I had the doubts like for myself, but like super cool for him that he's able to do that. So
damn, okay. Yeah. Dude, I want to get connected to him.
No, yeah, he's super cool guy.
I wasn't planning on talking about this, but I don't know about the kid situation because, or like I'll answer first, but I don't I'm thinking no on the kids because I won't be able to help like
Hmm.
in certain situations. I won't be able to help them with sports. I won't be able to right now. I won't be able to.
Yeah, not right now.
Like
Soon though.
in the nights, bro. Like I mean,
Yeah.
I want to like I want to do stuff like that. And if I
Yeah.
can't do stuff like that and like be there for my wife, then what's the deal? Now here's this point. I've talked to my therapist about this. Like, how could you rob them of letting them choose to like want to be with you? And like they know that's what's at hand. How could you not let them choose that's what they want? I get that argument, or maybe I get that point. I still feel like I'm letting them choose to live a worse life. But your guy also has a successful marriage and a kid now.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? You think it's doable?
I mean, I think.
And are you considering marriage and kids?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm ready to see a little bitty Tilly running around one day. But I think it's 100% doable. Just I've seen a lot of people, like there's a guy, he's a paraplegic, but he can do a lot more than us. But he has like four kids.
Wow.
I think he has 4, or he may have 3, but like
They're all his?
he built them all like their own room with like bunk beds into the wall and everything as a paraplegic in a wheelchair. I was like, that's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
Obviously in our situations we're a little bit, obviously we can't do like stuff to that extent, but like seeing Mason do that is super inspiring just because it's like it gives you a lot of hope of like, hey, like I can, like back to like how you were like, you don't want to be that person that's like, you don't want to just like sit there and not be able to help.
Yeah.
Like, but I think there's ways to be able to adapt that and like ways to get around it to like where you can help and do your part.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously the wife might have to step up just a little bit.
I think
more.
she's going to have to step up a little bit. Yeah.
Just a little bit. just a little bit.
Oh,
but
man.
I don't think it's anything undoable.
For sure. I think I'll like kind of grow and mature with that decision. I haven't totally cut it off yet. Right now, it's definitely a no, but like, there's just too much that can change, like with research, study things, and my mindset's evolving all the time. So like, I think my mind will change on that because before the accident, I was super adamant on being a dad one day. So
it'll come back.
Yeah,
the podcast will see a little kid.
There you go.
Not for too long.
Okay, so we kind of wrapped up on A&M a little bit, but I know you're pretty active on social media, but I wanted to talk about one of the organizations that you're involved with, or one of the foundations.
Yeah,
Disabled Outdoorsmen.
Yeah.
What's that one?
So that's a nonprofit foundation.
Yeah.
And they're out of like they basically kind of run like all over a good amount of like the US.
Yeah.
But it's based out of like San Antonio area.
Okay.
So one of the guys that started, his name's Weston Jenkins. He started it, excuse me. Because one of his family members, his relatives had a disability.
Yeah.
And he
was it
like,
spinal cord injury?
No, it wasn't a spinal cord. I'm not 100% what exactly it was, but he was like, he knew his love for like the outdoors and like wanted to get out there. So he started it up with him, and like it's grown. I think they may have started in like, I could be wrong on this, don't quote me. I think it was 2017.
Okay,
somewhere
so it's pretty
around
new.
there.
Yeah.
So it's pretty new. I think I could be wrong on that.
Yeah.
But he started that up and like started getting people like involved in it and like taking people to like ranches and like taking people fishing and like stuff like that. And now like we went to this past banquet. They have a banquet, like annual banquet, where like a lot of the people will come, and then like a lot of the people that have
looks like a nice banquet.
Yeah, it's super sweet. And so I think this year they raised like $550,000, $500,000 to be able to like send people and like buy stuff. Like they just bought like an accessible UTV where you can just put a platform down and roll into it.
Oh, nice.
And then just go anywhere. And then their like main goal is to end up being able to buy a whole ranch and then making it like an accessible,
adaptive ranch
That's where
sick.
like anyone with a disability, it doesn't matter what type, can go there and be able to like fish,
be outdoors,
just be in the outdoors. So that, I mean, before my injury, was super into the outdoors. Always grew up in that stuff. So being able to like get back, when I got injured, I was like, oh, no way I'm able to do that again.
Especially hunting, bro.
Yeah, hunting especially. So
because I've seen you shoot a gun. How do you pull the trigger?
So I have good.
You have a good finger, yeah.
This one finger. Yeah. Sometimes it fails me a little bit on the trigger, but like being able to like I can kind of hold it and pull back. So that one's, and then also like being able to have like a trigger with like a really low pressure on it. Super.
Dude, what are those called? Are they called like a feather?
I could be.
Dude,
I'd be
trigger,
wrong.
Feather trigger. I don't know. I thought this had a name before.
But yeah, that's that foundation's super cool. I just kind of started working with them really closely like over the past year, and then like being able to just like see like the impact. I mean, like obviously like a lot of people, everybody doesn't agree with like the whole hunting and everything, but it's super, super cool to like see the way it can change people. And like there's been people that come on there and like, they're not kidding when they say it. They're like, you know, like I was in a low part in my life. Like I didn't have anything going for me, but like as soon as like they got me back in the outdoors, like it was like my life changed.
Nature's
like,
amazing.
Yeah. Like you see they see a purpose for the life. I mean, obviously I always had a purpose, but like they may not be able to see it, but being able to get out there and like, you know, get to the stuff they enjoy is huge for them. So
what's some stuff that they use equipment wise, like that you've seen them use, for like shooting guns, but also fishing? Is there like cool stuff that they have?
So like for like the hunting wise, there's all kinds of things, and so like basically there's like on your, like if you're going like bird hunting, there's like a thing that you can put around your hand, and you can kind of like put it like this, and you can put like a Velcro thing and put the Velcro underneath the gun and be able to like raise it. Because I mean, obviously like it's hard
to steady that.
Do that. So they can do like that. And then there's also like a little like glove kind of thing. So like say if you don't have the good use of this finger, there's like a metal, like I don't know if it's metal, but like a little bent piece right here that keeps your finger like that. See, all you have to do is just pull back with your arm and it'll like fire the gun for you.
Nice, dude.
And I mean, just like little things like that, being able to adapt it, super, super cool to see. There's also like other things, like there's a metal rack that comes out from like behind you, like above on the back of your chair, and it has like a chest strap on it. So like it'll keep you, like when bird hunting for me, the hardest thing is like when I'm reaching back, like to do that, the weight obviously wants to carry me forward. So that one's super cool too.
Were you primarily a bird hunter before?
No, I was kind of in between.
You deer hunt a lot too?
Yeah, I did a lot of deer hunting, but I did a lot of like, I don't know, the dove were kind of getting a little light here for a while. So I kind of didn't do that as much, but definitely probably a good mix between.
I've only ever hunt deer. I probably shot about 5 deer in my lifetime. I've shot at those deer and I've shot a jackrabbit. That's all I've shot. I shot one hog.
There you go.
Yeah. I've never been super passionate about hunting, but seeing that, I can definitely see how impactful being out in nature can be. Like just being outside and getting in the sun, and then all that is so important. And I definitely want to get involved with them going forward.
Hey, we're gonna get you.
I got
involved.
the connection.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna get you involved in that. But yeah, like getting outside, not being stuck inside on your phone or watching TV. It's super, I mean, to me, it's super important.
It gets so boring so quick on the phones and stuff.
You feel like you're actually like alive. You don't feel like you're just like, stuck in the house.
Yeah. Well, I know there's another foundation. We touched on Wings for Life a little bit. That's through Red Bull, right?
So Wings for Life was started, I think it was started in Austria by a guy that had I think it was his son had him. I think it was his son. I could be wrong. Yeah. Had a motocross accident, I believe. And I think they were connected through like one of the main people at Red Bull. And so Red Bull like kind of got brought on as like one of their big like supporters of their mission or whatever. So now like they're their biggest supporter of their mission. So like now they have like the Wings for Life, which is like technically like Red Bull gives you wings and like everything. So anywhere you see like the Wings for Life, you'll usually see like the Red Bull stuff. So that's kind of how that got started.
What's going on tomorrow with that one?
So yeah, that like tomorrow, basically like what me and Michaela are going to do is going to like promote it and like try to get people to be aware of like, what exactly like is going on with it. Cause I mean like before my injury, I had no clue what it was. So basically we're going to Austin and we're going to the Coda track, the F1 track.
The F1? Okay.
Yeah. And they're doing basically F1, but for motorcycles, you know, like where they're on the knee and they're like, So yeah, they're doing that. And we have like a couple booths set up where we're like talking about like our story and like trying to get people to like sign up, and also like spreading awareness of like exactly like what Wings for Life stands for, which is super cool. Just, you know, I think the cure is only around the corner. I mean, there's always.
What does a cure look like though? Like, what do they say it looks like? Because like I want to believe that I can get my fully functioning body back that I had before, but I mean, I just messed up my body so bad. What do they say?
Well,
the cure looks like?
I mean, even if I think they find the cure, I don't think I'm getting back
everything the way it was.
I'm not going to be Travis Gilmore in 2020 that's running around. I mean, do I need that? No, I don't need to be that way. But I mean, I'd like it. But I mean, I think it's being able. I think the start of the cure is finding ways to be able to control like the bladder, the need to go to the restroom. Or I guess bladder, but
they didn't talk about core function stuff at all too.
I could see like core function, like finger movement, like you're more like smaller things, and then obviously like to the full extent would be able to like getting the movement beyond like legs wise and like being able to like do that in like most of your core. So I'd say that's, but I think like starting out with all the research that I see going on, it's a lot of it's more so like, hey, like we saw like movement in these extremities, but it wasn't like full range of movement
and being able to use it, just so different.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, the thing is, like I say, it's around the corner, but it's like it's not not some easy thing that. But I mean, I think it's, especially with the amount of money that there's a lot of money being pumped into it right now, and I think it's kind of like, especially with Elon's whole thing bringing light to it, I think it's pretty cool because it can bring a lot of attention to the spinal cord injuries. But like the Wings for Life last year I think they raised $9 million for it, and
that's so cool.
Being a part of them, it's super cool to like see like how they input that money into these research programs and like where it's going, instead of just like, hey, I donated and like the money just disappeared.
That's a little sus. I agree. That's
like,
cool.
Where'd my money just go?
Those are both great organizations, foundations. I wanted to go back to you living on your own. What's like the biggest challenge that you face living on your own? I can think of so many right now, but like give me like at least one or two, three of them.
There's a lot of those. Biggest
like making
challenge.
food. You make food pretty good.
Yeah, food's not the and I have the air fryer hack. If anyone doesn't know about an air fryer, the air fryer will get
use
it done.
that thing well.
I love me an air fryer. Just it makes it super easy. And on the Ninja, you can do like a bake mode, an air fry mode, a broil. You can do everything on that. So that's if you're living with a spinal cord injury in college, you should get that.
What's your like go-to meal that you make?
Salmon. Salmon in the air fryer.
Salmon too.
I just throw it in there for like 10 minutes, 12 minutes, and then warm up a 90-minute bag of rice. My mom's gonna hear this and be like, "Oh, you make 90-minute bags of rice." But yeah, I do that. It's super easy and it doesn't taste that bad. But I mean, starting out, I would say probably cooking. Or like being able to like eat and like feed myself like quality meals. I'm pretty picky on like not like picky as wise as like what I'll eat, but like picky in taste of like I want a good meal. I don't want to eat something bad. So
something bad like McDonald's or like fast food. Is that what you're talking about? Something
bad? In a way, but more so just I guess more like in an unhealthy way or like easy way. Like I could just throw a sausage in the microwave and then just eat it. I'd rather have something a little bit more on the healthier side.
For sure. But are you like transferring to couches easy?
So I don't do the couch. I see a lot of people do the couch transfer. And I'm like, that one scares me.
You don't bother with it? Okay.
Because Personally, I mean, I don't have triceps that well. So a lot of the people I feel like I see do it usually have triceps pretty good. Some may not. But like when my couch at my apartment, if I were to sit in it, I'd be like 5 inch
sunken
like
way
I
down.
would be sunk in there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's no way I'm getting back in my chair after that. So I'm like, I don't even chance.
So you just stay in your chair most of the
So I
time?
just stay in my chair most of the time. And then once I hit my bed, it's lights out.
For sure.
It feels so good to like stretch your body out and like stretch your legs out. But you're so exhausted from being in the chair.
That is
but like
true.
back to the 3 things, I'd probably say cooking. At first, I would just say like the transferring. Like transfers were like a big difficulty.
Out of the bed and all that stuff.
And then
dressing, gotta be dressing.
Yeah, dressings.
Yeah,
that one's just time consuming. Like you learn to get quicker with it, but it's just so time consuming.
You can only go so fast.
Yeah,
with our case. Yeah,
I mean, it's not like I can just stand up and put my
I
don't wear
socks
jeans
and shorts.
like if you wear like pants, it's super. And like the people that I see like dressing in their chair, I'm like, what?
I'm
Do
not. Do you see quads dressing in the chair?
Yeah,
really.
I'm not flexible enough for that.
Are they using like special tools? They're just using their hands.
No, they're just like just
send me those videos. I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I've seen a girl do it where she like puts her shoe on in the chair. Her name's Eden.
She like throws her leg up on her knee.
I'm like, my body is not moving like that.
You got long legs, bro.
Yeah, my body does not move like that.
That's good. Well, I've kind of touched on most of the things I'm going to touch on. I want to ask one last thing. So throughout this injury, I've had an ample amount of time, like in my own head, think about all kinds of things. Like, what's my purpose now? I definitely went through the why did this happen to me. Mine's a bit different than yours. Yours was like a common kid accident. Mine was like me just kind of being an idiot for a brief moment. But like I've had so much time in my head, and through that time, like I've spent a lot of time thinking, once I got that close to death, bro, like I started thinking about afterlife and like what is my relationship with God? Like had I died there, where would I have gone to heaven? Like I grew up a Christian. I just never really dedicated my life to him. And like I got baptized, I done all that. But I was still just like living for the flesh, bro. Like all through college, I never had to really focus on like the main idea, which was living for Christ. But like through this time, that's why I'm grateful for the accident, because it's forced me, yes, but like also just given me the opportunity to find out who I am, like what I want, what's my purpose, why I'm still here. So I guess what I want to ask is like, do you think you've kind of had the same thing? Like I've had that time to think about what my relationship with God is like. Do you think you kind of encountered the same thing because we have so much time to be in our head and like be still. So like I'm appreciative of being still, but what's your connection with God been like since your accident?
So like I would say like just like you, like before my injury, I was very like, I guess you could say like lukewarm.
Yeah,
in the
I've heard that one. Yeah, I would agree. Me too.
Yeah, like lukewarm.
Yeah,
in all of that, just because like it didn't really hit me until like that, like the injury, like you know, it's like you get everything taken away from you, and like at the time, like it's like all it seems like you have is that like all you really think you have in your corner is like your family, and, God and all that. So I mean, that was a big eye opener for me, just like getting back truly like rooted in my faith.
Yeah.
So I guess like just like you said, it brought me closer to God. So like that is like one of like the biggest things that I am truly appreciative of for my accident, because like people will be like, oh, like I'm so sorry for like your injury, like I'm so sorry it happened. But like I mean, me now, I'm like I'm thankful that
I totally understand.
In a way, I'm extremely thankful that it happened, because not only did it bring me closer to God, but it brought me closer to my family, friends, and made me like a way better person than I would have ever been before my injury. Yeah. And that's something I'm truly thankful for. But it's also like with walking through God with this is just like it's helped me become a way better person, but not only just being able to like rely on him for my strength when I like don't have it. Cause there's those days where it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like anything's going right.
Right.
And, you're down and you just to sit there and pray and like be able to like, hey, like, I'm struggling with this. Like just being able to have him in your corner is just one of those things. I mean, you can't really describe it, but it's been super important for me just with all the tough times that, I mean, I'm sure that
for sure.
It's just when you get those tough times, it's like, you fall back on him and you're like, hey, like, I really need you to like pick me up. But like, also like my thing, I guess my biggest problem with it all is I tend to rely on him when things are going bad and not so much thank him. I mean, I thank him every night for a lot of things,
sure.
but I don't thank him when something goes right a lot more. I don't thank him as much when something goes right as much as I want to, or like I should, because there's plenty of times where I like should be extremely grateful that, he's helped me with this or like helped me get to this point or just, guide me through this. And I'm not showing that appreciation, but as soon as something goes wrong, I'm like,
that's when
to be like, hey,
again.
Lee, please, I need you. Like, but that's been one of the biggest things I've been working on lately.
Yeah.
Just with my faith, just because, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
As soon as that tough time happens,
Dude,
I'm quick.
It's easy to turn to him.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Dude, I'm glad you brought that up because but I think because I've struggled with the same thing. And it's so hard for us because those good times come so rarely. Maybe not so rarely, but they come definitely more rarely. But I think you recognizing that you're maybe missing out on thanking him for those good times and recognizing that you do lean on him in the tough, but maybe you're missing out on thanking him for the good times. That's a testament to your character. And like, that doesn't go unnoticed. And, it's just, I think that's great that you're recognizing that. And where your heart is with that is really what counts. But I was going to talk about that because I've struggled with the same thing. But I'm glad you brought that up and I think give yourself some grace. But like that's cool that you're looking at it like that.
But like I mean, it's just it's hard to I mean for you and me, it's like hard to admit like going not being able to do that, but. I mean, it's cool that we can kind of like share that whole thing.
For sure.
But I'd say another thing, like on faith wise, is just like it's super cool to see how it's brought my family together on a faith based wise. Just because, I mean, my family is really religious. Like before
you grew up going to church and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So like, even like my aunt like sang in the choir at the church and everything. So it's been super cool to kind of like see how it's like brought everyone together, and it's just like. That's one of those things that's like really, you can't really describe it, but it's just like, it makes your heart happy.
I think ultimately like you and I have been through some really tough things, but like it does, like you said with your family, like it for when I got hurt, like everybody rallied together in that moment when I was hurt. But even still now, like I just get to connect with my family like I never had before. And this time I would have been like very much like all about me, all about how am I going to make money? What am I going to do about girls? Start a family. So in that sense, I don't know if this was God's plan all along, but I'm grateful for it in essence. Like I just feel more aware of like what truly matters, and that's just loving others and serving others. But certainly the family connection is a real deal. I would never say like I want to hang out with my grandparents before, but like I'm just so glad I get so much like time with them, and then like I get time at home with my siblings now as their older brother. Like they're going through some pretty, just when they're learning a lot in high school and middle school. So many different things that we can look at the situation as so unfair and difficult, and while it is those things, I mean, you can just spin it where it's in your favor.
Oh, yeah.
And but I do believe like I have this mindset and like the understanding through the Holy Spirit. So like I'm just thanking for giving me that grace to continue living here, but also just view it that way. But thank you for sharing your stuff too, dude. That was inspiring.
I like how you're like talking about how like it's changed you to be like, you wouldn't be this type of person like before you're like, if you were now, like if you never had your injury. And I completely agree with you on that. Cause like I'm thinking about like now I'd be like probably like the biggest douchebag, like, you know, think I'm so cool, you know, you're in college or whatever. And like, I mean, I can still be a little bit of a douchebag, but
for sure.
but now it's just like, it's really crazy, like to think back like on our past selves, or like where we'd be now, and like the kind of person we are now compared to what we would be. And I think that's one of the super cool things, and that's one of the things I'm super grateful for. Is because I'm like, I know I'm truly a way better person than I would ever been, even been close to me. Like the way you think about, and then your mindset about things. The way you think about things, the way you go about challenges is like something that I would have never been able to comprehend.
Sometimes I feel blessed for spinal cord injury.
It's
very rarely, but sometimes I do.
The rare times, guys. We're not hyping it up over here.
Definitely not.
We're just showing the good parts.
Well, brother, thank you so much for coming on again.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Maybe we'd like to have you on again, but we'll see how it goes. You have a lot of stuff coming up. What do you think the rest of the year looks like for you?
The rest of the year, so I have the Wings for Life in the World Run, which is May 4th. So I'll be raising money for spinal cord injury research, and that's around the time that school gets out. So I'm looking forward to that one. Get to go back home and enjoy the lake and be able to hopefully do some cooking stuff or whatever. But other than that, that's pretty much, you know, I like to keep my summers pretty
nice and open.
Pretty nice and open, because I'm busy with school or whatever through the whole rest of the year. So I'm like, once it gets to summer, just let me be. Let me be,
stuff, bro.
But other than that, it's pretty. You got anything?
Dude, I really think I want to get to Dallas so I can I want to try ATF this year.
Okay.
ATF this year. There's also like a neurogenic bladder guy that's helped with spinal cord injuries and like having regained function and feeling in their bladder.
Oh, sweet.
That one definitely work with that guy. And there's another spinal cord specialist guy, Fitz. Michaela works out with him.
Okay.
I don't know his name's Fitz. But I want to work out with him, ATF, and get to the neurogenic bladder guy. And if I can get there by the end of the year, then I'd feel very good.
That'd be sweet. That'd be sweet. The ATF thing looks
I'm super excited to get there.
That'd be awesome.
I think
that really changes like a lot of people.
Yeah.
Not only just like physically, but I think a lot of people come out of there mentally a lot stronger than they went in before. And I think that's one of the I think the coolest part about it.
I agree.
You get that dog mentality in you.
Hell yeah. Well, thanks again for joining, and I look forward to having you again, hopefully one day.
I appreciate y'all.
Love it, brother.
Y'all keep watching the pod. It's good stuff here.
Appreciate it. Thank y'all for listening. I'd love to hear from you guys. If you have somebody that you think would be a good guest, or you'd be a good guest, or you have questions for me, just shoot me a DM. Once again, thank you guys. Y'all keep stacking. Peace.